Kia ora and welcome to the Becoming Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Brown, and today we have with us Alex Newman, who will be sharing a lot of wonderful information with you as well. Before we get started, a big call out to the Boutique Hotel Leonardo here in Port Towels for allowing us to do the filming here. So thank you very much to you guys. Alex, hey, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in on such short notice.
No problem.
Yeah. So you're living on Mallorca, you've been here a little while. How long have you been here?
Well, I arrived on Independence Day, 4th of July,
Okay.
3 years ago, so just almost smack bang in the middle of COVID. We came back from New Zealand, so we've been living in New Zealand for 4 years and came to live in Mallorca, so we've been here for 3 years now, but originally from the UK, Bath and Somerset.
Okay, well, that's a lovely area as well.
Yeah, very nice.
Yes,
really nice, yeah.
And we were chatting before, you were in New Zealand and these opportunities arose or came into being, and now that you're here in Mallorca, and things are going well for you here?
Yeah, really picking up now. The first year was obviously a bit tricky because I didn't really know anyone, everything was still closed, but yeah, getting to know some really good people, networking. There's a lot of great people doing great things on the island, and just really getting out there now and getting involved and being able to share my information with as many people as possible, including you.
Yeah, which is great. And I heard from Alex from a number of friends, and she has got a very good name, good reputation on the island, so she was a natural choice to bring in to share her information and what she does with you. So what do you do?
Well, primarily I'm a substance misuse specialist.
Okay.
I've been working in the area of addiction and domestic abuse and now menopause. So for 25 years I've been working in drug and alcohol agencies in various different roles, developing projects, developing services in relation to not only substance misuse but domestic abuse. Through that work, obviously, I built up quite a catalogue, I suppose, if you like, of skills, experience, training, met a lot of people. I've been working in that area for a long, long time and got an opportunity to go to New Zealand for a few years. So went over to New Zealand and wanted to have a bit of a break, but ended up working back in rehabilitation for Bupa. As a regional manager there, which was great. Got to see the islands, and travelled a lot there, but then realised needed to get a bit closer to home really.
Sure. Came
back to the island. However, while I was over in New Zealand, I started to experience perimenopause symptoms.
Right.
At the time, I had absolutely no idea what that was. I was mid-40s and I was starting to find I was having all kinds of strange symptoms that I didn't understand at the time: sleeplessness, hot flashes, skin issues, itchiness, real anxiety. The anxiety, I think, was the worst thing. I was quite scared of driving, etc., etc., and really didn't understand what was happening to me. Because of that, and because of the lack of knowledge through the medical profession in New Zealand at the time, I didn't really get any answers from them.
Right.
And all they did was keep sending me for blood tests. Nothing was actually really wrong with me, apart from the fact that my hormones were in decline because I was a woman of a certain age.
Sure.
I had no experience, no knowledge, and so it seems nor did the medical profession. So I actually did a lot of research myself and ended up self-diagnosing myself with perimenopause. At the time I was trying to hold down a really stressful job. I was driving around the country and I was finding it incredibly difficult. Eventually we moved back to Europe, to the island, and I carried on with my research, and because I'd had such a hideous time really experiencing all that, I kind of became very passionate about wanting to not only educate but support and advise other women who were finding themselves in a similar situation to me. Because of my passion and my interest in working with women in general, just really led me to get really involved, I suppose, in what I call the menopause movement at the moment, because there's such a lot of things going on with it. There's a lady called Dr. Louise Newson, who is I suppose she's the most famous GP specialist in the UK. She has just revolutionised the world of hormonal health and for menopausal women. So I've actually done lots of training with her, done lots of research, and now I am offering a person-centred, holistic package, I suppose, of care, with not only therapy with substance misuse that I do already, but I invite women to come for consultations and talk to me about their lifestyles, but primarily their hormonal health, and to try and help them recognise where they are on their journey towards menopause. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the name that you use, the pre-menopause, is that something that's been? I mean, I know for women, the whole when you go through this whole process has been around for a long time, but is it different now than it was for our parents?
Absolutely not. No, it's just that I think that women are living longer. We are being expected to hold down jobs and families, and we're doing a lot more. But also, I think that women, well, especially back in the dark ages, women were treated very differently, and
Sure.
and I think now women just really need to understand what's happening to them and be able to have a say in their own health.
Yes.
As the hormones decline, obviously the symptoms increase. Not everybody's the same. Everyone obviously experiences it very differently. But for the majority of women that I speak to who are in their 40s, they're definitely starting to recognise some of these changes, but they don't know what to do about it.
Sure.
And getting the help and the support that they need is actually not very easy, because not many people in the medical profession have had the training, have got the up-to-date knowledge and the statistics, and are confident about giving women the knowledge or even prescribing HRT. So that's what I'm here to do.
I mean, HRT has been around for a little while, hasn't it?
It's been around for years. It's been around for a long time. It's just that it's always had a bit of a bad reputation because of a few studies that were done back in the 60s that were actually wrong. They scared a lot of women into thinking that taking HRT would increase your breast cancer risk, but that has actually been proven to be not true at all. And HRT, if anything, is really beneficial to women as they get older. It helps with cardiovascular health, it helps with osteoporosis and bone health, with skin, with hair, with anxiety, with depression, and dementia, actually, as we get a lot older. And it's been proven that women can start HRT and stay on it for as long as they like. And I think that the thing just to really mention here is that every woman has a choice, and one of the things that I like to do through my consultations is offer a woman a choice. You can either do this, or if you want to take HRT, or you can, improve different things in different ways. But I would like to be able to support women in making more informed choices about their hormonal health going forward.
Yes, for sure. Is it? I mean, before, when you're looking at our parents or our grandparents, there was a communication and a certain amount of information that was there or not there. But now, is the woman of today a little bit more fearful about coming forward, or they just haven't got the information at hand for them to tap into what is good for them at this time?
I don't think that they're fearful. I think that they're incredibly ignorant, because there has not been any information. I mean, obviously, we're quite lucky in some ways. Quite a few celebrities are now coming forward, Vida, Cull. These types of women have written books and are encouraging women to talk about what has in the past been quite a taboo subject, but it's something that's happening to half the population in the whole world globally. And it's about time, I think, that women have their say and that we are listened to, and that this whole area of health is really given given the expertise that it needs, really. And that is happening. It's starting to happen in the UK. There is lots and lots happening, especially through Dr. Louise Newson, as I mentioned before. She's written 3 books on it now, so there is a lot more information out there. You can tap into the internet and find out anything that you need.
Sure.
But having somebody, I think, to be able to talk through lots of other things is quite useful.
Yes.
Because a lot of the time, a middle-aged woman, she may be having relationship problems or problems with either young children or teenagers or jobs, or have caring responsibilities, plus all of these hormonal issues that are going on. So I like to try to see the person as a whole and not only address the hormonal issues, but what else is going on in your life, and being able to offer them some support and guidance through what is a particularly tricky time, really.
And very, very difficult, I'm sure. And with what we talked about the other day, these women, all women, need the support, need the contact, need to be able to know where to go. And as you said it was like a taboo subject before. But why would it need to be that now? The information you're here, there's a lot of other people there as well sharing this information, and that's got to be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, from there. With this work that you're doing, you do a lot of other things as well, with your counselling and things. Can you share some of that?
I do, yes. Well, as I've said before, for 25 years I've been working in the area of substance misuse. First as a counsellor, and then sort of going up through the ranks and to a manager. My last kind of corporate job was working with Bupa, and before then I was the manager of the drug and alcohol services in Bath and North East Somerset for adults and young people, which was a fairly big job.
Yes.
We used to manage the criminal justice services and all kinds of things, family services, outreach services, all kinds of things to do with drugs and alcohol. Obviously, substance misuse is a huge issue globally. And it's something that I just feel very passionately about, that I like to, again, impart my knowledge and advice to people who are struggling with substances. Obviously, living in a place like Mallorca with a gorgeous temperature and party kind of holiday atmosphere, I think that there's a lot of people who are using alcohol and drugs and also needing support that don't really know where to go. So I've been putting myself out there a little bit, and I've been working with quite a few people who have been especially in the yachting industry. But I'm basically just out there to be able to offer any training and consultancy, counselling, group work. I'm hoping to put together some workshops on the menopause and on substance misuse. Just talking about those two things together, one of the things that I found very interesting when I started working with a lot of women who were suffering through perimenopause and menopause is how many women were actually using substances, mainly things like alcohol, sleeping tablets, painkillers, cannabis, to self-medicate their symptoms.
Right.
Especially for things like sleep, stress, for instance. And alcohol, obviously, as it's so widely available, so socially acceptable, a lot of people are drinking far, far more than they should be for their health.
Yes.
And especially women in their 40s or 50s, the body actually gets to a point where it's starting to, with the perimenopause, becomes intolerant of alcohol. So not only do you have your perimenopause symptoms, if you're drinking on top of that, then you've got the intolerance that brings, plus then possibly the dehydration and the hangover symptoms. So, putting those two things together is what I think is really important, to recognise that going forward you are going to feel dreadful if you're not able to recognise these things and do something about it.
There's a lot going on. It's not only the island, but it's worldwide. So listen, we're going to come back with Alex for some more wonderful information. We're just going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll see you soon.
Check your email. It just went on the market. Knowing how much this house means to you, I put together an offer. It's so good to see you. I have to show you something. Are you ready?
Hi, welcome back to the second half with Alex, talking about the work that she's doing, the wonderful work that she's doing around the islands, and the information that she's sharing with us. Good to have you here again and still being with us. Tell us about a bit more about the abuse, alcohol abuse, addictions, and relationships, and what we got into a little bit before, but we want to expand on.
Well, one of the other areas that I have a keen interest in working with is helping people with their relationships. Obviously, around the time of perimenopause, sometimes the pressure that can bring can put real pressure on relationships as well. So I've been working with people around trying to improve their relationships and making sure that they sometimes kind of can take things home to try with their partners and try to improve things in the family, really, which not only helps the relationship, helps the children, etc. And obviously a lot of people who live on the island, they're away from their families, you know, they might be back in the UK or, you know, anywhere else that they come from globally, so they don't always have the family support that they need. Some people are feeling fairly isolated, and that's another reason why they might be drinking or taking drugs or whatever. Or actually they're here, especially women, for instance, here if their partners or whoever, you know, they're in a family with or away in the yachting season, they're here on their own throughout the summer, and I tend to find that a lot with a lot of the women. They can sometimes feel quite lonely and cut off from family and friends that they're used to being around. So I think those three things for me are just really kind of coming together. I'm just really noticing that, you know, women in their early 40s through to their mid 50s, depending on where they are in their life. I mean, some women, if they have their children younger, they might have teenagers in the house, or women are having children a lot older, so they may be going through perimenopause and have very young children in the house as well, which is very stressful, especially if they're not getting any sleep or any support. So
no, the support is a big one, isn't it? You know, if they are like the yachting industry, where they can be away for months at a time.
Exactly.
You know, it is from the end. And I know in that sort of situation that some of the people, and it's not just women, it's men as well, but they can be very crafty about hiding their addictions from other family members and their friends as well. So, you know, it's a matter, it's about them taking responsibility for themselves and coming forward and say, hey, listen, yeah, I do have a problem, I do need something, you know, I need to work on this with somebody. Is that what you're finding, they're starting to come forward to you a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with quite a few people that have worked in the yachting industry now, but one of the things that I've really noticed about this industry and this island is how normalised and massively increased substance use is, because lots of people are drinking and taking drugs, and that is just seen as
normal.
As normal,
like
exactly.
Normal, yes,
You know, and it's only really when people start to struggle either with health problems, usually, especially people that have been in the industry for a long time, especially men actually in their late 40s and early 50s, starting to recognise that they're coming to me with, you know, quite serious health problems by then, quite scary ones, very high blood pressure, etc., liver problems. So yeah, I mean, much as I work with them around their mental health and their health, you know, I do always encourage people to go and get blood tests and to get checked out at the same time, because when somebody's had a huge history of maybe 30 years or so of abusing alcohol and drugs, and then, you know, it's not great to just stop in your tracks either. You know, sometimes I can put together a package to help people just kind of taper down and to detox safely and in a healthy way. So
and it's not only the yachting industry, but it's all the other businesses and work out there is that this is there. But I know in the yachting industry and some businesses that we have to have we used to, it still do, have to have a medical test sometimes every year, second or 2 or 3 years, and this is starting to come back on them. When they don't pass their medical test, they lose their license and they lose their job. So they're having to come forward and look for solutions, and this is where you come in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I really would like to just be able to put things out there a lot more and offer workshops and training. I did some training on one of the yachts, which went down really well around mental health and substance misuse, and I got some feedback that they said that they had the best season that they'd ever had, because all of the crew had really sort of shared information with one another, a lot more supportive of one another. And I'm not talking about substance misuse here, I'm just talking about mental health and supporting one another in general. So I think there's just a lot to be said really for sharing information and supporting one another. For sure.
And again, it's the industry. People think it's a glamorous industry. You get to travel around to these beautiful locations. Everything's lovely and fine, but underlying it all is you're working so many hours in a day. You're under so much stress, and you have to perform. At that, when you do get a time off, the first thing they do normally is to go to some sort of substance in one way or another from there. But you said it brought the team, almost like a team together.
Absolutely,
on that boat from there.
Yeah, it was great, and they all really enjoyed the sessions, really, just opening up with one another, helped them really bond before they went out, because they're living in such close quarters as well. Yes. Some of them are kind of new to it, some of them are new on the boat, for instance, or working with one another, so it's good. It was a good thing to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. Why are your sessions different from maybe some of the other professionals that are available out there?
Ooh, good question. Well, I've got 25 years experience. I think that I just work in a very holistic way. I work with the person, not with the issue.
Sure.
So quite often when somebody comes to me, they come to me with a perceived issue that they have. In the first consultation appointment that I usually have with them, we usually work out that sometimes the issue that they've come to me with, that is an issue, but there are also other issues, So I work in a very person-centred and solution-focused way. So I work setting goals with the client, so we work together as a team. It's not about something that I'm doing for them, it's something that we work together. It's a very collaborative situation, and basically I just allow the clients to make their own choices going forward. One of the things that I'm trained in is something called motivational interviewing, which I'm an advanced motivational interviewing practitioner.
That's a mouthful.
It is a bit.
Yeah.
And that basically means that I facilitate somebody's change.
Right.
So I would ask the questions, and I would try to bring out somebody what it is that they want from their life, that they need to change, and help them to see themselves what they need to do to be able to take their lives forward in a much healthier and happier way. Right.
Has this changed you? I mean, doing this work, have you had to make changes in your lifestyle to accommodate the work that you're doing? Absolutely.
I mean, obviously for 25 years I was working in an incredibly stressful job. Drug and alcohol services is not for the faint-hearted. Sure. Especially I was working in prisons, probation service with the police, actually, and with the homeless population, and there was a lot of loss, and it was not the most glamorous job in the world. And it was hard, and then I suffered burnout to some degree. Got to a point where I just thought I just don't feel like I can continue working in this way anymore. And so one of the reasons we moved back to Europe from New Zealand was to try and change my pace of life, really. One of the things that I realised that I loved to do was my one-to-one, face-to-face, person-to-person work. So I wanted to go right back to the beginning, and use all of my expertise really and training, and knowledge, just to be able to go back to working with people.
Yes.
And I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah. So the people that are working with you, what can they expect?
Well, normally what I do is if somebody contacts me, I just always invite them for a hour's consultation meeting. And that is literally just a, let's meet each other, let's talk about what it is that you need, what you would like to achieve. And through that consultation, we talk, we get to realise what the situation is, then I would make a suggestion of what I feel it would be the best plan going forward. If that person agrees, then I usually suggest that we have 6 sessions together and then review every 6 sessions. Right. Because depending on what somebody's life is like, how often they can come, you know, and some people make very quick progress and other people don't. So, you know, it's all very person-centred, as I say. Yeah.
So what would one thing you'd like people to take away from this podcast?
I'd just really like to let people know that there's a lot of help on this island, actually. There's a lot of incredibly good people out there trying to help people get on track with their lives, with their health, etc. And I'm just one of them. But I'm very passionate at the moment about trying to really help women to understand where they're at with their hormones. That is my kind of big passion at the moment. Obviously substance misuse is something that's close to my heart, and that's always going to be around, but I think that this movement at the moment for women is incredibly important, and I think we all need to come together and support one another.
That's wonderful, fantastic. How can people get in contact with you?
Well, at the moment my website is being developed, so I'm hoping that will be up and around fairly shortly. But the easiest thing to do is to just drop me a text or a WhatsApp, just to make contact, or you can write me an email.
Fantastic, and we'll have those details down below of the video as well. So wonderful. Thank you for coming in. You do such a wonderful job. It's a blessing for having you here in Mallorca, you know, and I heard wonderful things, and I hope you can keep doing the work as long as possible, you know, and that will be a long time, I'm sure.
So, I hope so.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Well, thanks for having me.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for listening in. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you, Hotel Boutique Leonardo here for having us, and we'll catch up with you all soon.